This is a message for Judge Nicholas Lopane. Please be advised that Claudia Valentine's estate is being watched and monitored. Hello, I'm Antonio Ringo Davis, and I'm making this video for Broward County Probate Judge, Judge Nicholas Lopane. The reason why I'm making this video is because Judge Lopane is now presiding over my grandmother's probate case. And as the presiding judge, a few days ago, Judge Lopane made a decision to basically give my sister homestead over their estate. I've tried to explain to this judge, who's the third judge on this probate case, what's going on, but he wouldn't listen. You just listen to the lawyer without actually talking to me. And I get that. I get it. I'm the little guy. Literally and figuratively, I'm the little guy in this situation. So I understand. I understand that you don't talk to people who you feel you are better than, or you know the law better than, or whatever the case may be. But I've tried to explain it to you. I've tried my best to explain this to you, and I hope that what I'm about to tell you and show you today, I hope you take heed to what I'm saying. And don't take it as a joke. I'm not joking. And don't take it as a threat, because I'm not threatening you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm informing you of what's going on. So I'm going to show you, but first I'm going to tell you. All right. I am Claudia Lee Valentine's, one of Claudia Lee Valentine's grandsons. I served in the military from 1999 to 2013. While I was in the military, around about 2003, somewhere around there, my mother contacted my chain of command, my commander, my captain, my colonel, my lieutenant colonel, and even it got up to my brigade colonel. What she contacted them and told them was that we were Native American and that the state of Florida is trying to take my grandmother's estate. She told them that the state of Florida, Broward County in particular, kept putting liens on my grandmother's property without going through the full process. So what she basically told my commander was that if my grandmother owed a bill for $500, that $500 wouldn't go to the creditors. It wouldn't be something that went to a debt collection, or she didn't have a chance. My grandmother didn't have a chance to fight it, because what would happen is it would go directly to court, to a judge, and a judge would put a lien directly on my grandmother's house. The judge would put a lien directly on my grandmother's house. This is what my mother told my military, my commanders in 2003. What my commanders did, they told me what was going on, and they also taught me the law when it comes to estate planning. That was one of the main things that we had to do in the military anyway, because we was going back and forth overseas, going into dangerous areas. I could have been killed, all this good stuff. But mostly, they taught me everything in regards to my grandmother's estate. My mother lived with me from 2007 to 2008. My mother told me everything about my grandmother's estate. All right? Everything. So now you add the military told me everything about probate, the process, And they told me about law, civil procedures. They taught me everything. And my mother telling me about our history and our heritage. With that, that made me the automatic personal representative of the estate on the military side. Now, what the military also did, back in, I guess this was back in 2003, so maybe a little bit later, they took that, my grandmother's estate, they took all her deeds and all her property and all that stuff, they took that out of the state of Florida. They took it out of the state of Florida. So that is something that the state of Florida does not have access to. Which may explain why you don't have a deed to my grandmother's estate. Right? I'm telling you all this for a reason. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Now, before I show you, you as a judge know the probate proceedings. You know probate proceedings. You've been a lawyer in probate, and now you've been a judge in probate for quite some time now. You know the proceedings. You know how the proceedings go. You know that most proceedings only last 2 years. 2 years. The most that most proceedings last is 2 years. You know that. I know that. Why is this particular proceeding lasting 16 years? Well, because of what my mom said. Because of what my mom told my commanders. It's exactly what my mom told my commanders. Exactly. You all are doing exactly what my mom told my military commanders that you all were going to do. You all are doing exactly what my military commanders told me what you were going to do. Now, I want to show you something. I want to show you your actions. Because you got to remember, there are people above your pay grade, above you, above your county position, who are watching. There's a lot of people watching, particularly in the military. I can't make this up. So just watch. So do you remember what I was talking about when I was telling you all about the liens that was placed on my grandmother's estate? Let me show them to you right now. This is one of the liens that was placed on my grandmother's estate back in 1997. As you can see here, this is from Broward County, signed and everything, right? The lien in itself for my grandmother's property was for $532.83. Now, they didn't send it to a collection. It never went to a collection agency. It never went through it went through the courts. The courts didn't put a lien directly on the property. It didn't go anywhere else but the courts. This is a lien on my grandmother's property. You understand? All right, but that's not the only lien. Now, there were several liens on my grandmother's property, but I'm only showing you two. Claim of lien. You see this? This is another one from Broward County and Fort Lauderdale. Let me see. Trying to see how much was this lien for. Section David Weatherton above. Caption case commanded above. Name references to the brain violations. Final order in compliance before 23rd, 23rd. Pay a fine an amount of $50 per day. Right? So they was charging my grandmother $50 per day until she paid it. Trying to see what was the final amount. But this is a lien and foreclosure notice. You see, in 2002. I don't know how much it was for. I don't see that. But it was for something that was on my grandmother's property or whatever. They put a lien on the property. You see that, right? Now, do you also remember that I told you that the average probate case only lasts 2 years? Remember? So I'm finna show you. Now, this is my grandmother's probate case. This case was opened up in 09/16/2009. Right? 2009. The last thing on that was admitted to the case, order determined homestead 07/21/2025. 16 years later. Now, I'm going to show you something very important. See this right here? What does that say? Petitioner Davis Antonio Ringo. On the actual file of this record, it has me as the petitioner. Me as the petitioner. Right? I'm going to show you why it has me as the petitioner. This is for Judge Lopane. Now, we know everything that happened from 2009 when it was open. Now, the case was closed, ordered closed, sua sponte, on its own, in 2015. From 2009 to 2015, nothing was going on with this estate. Now, 05/2021, petition for subsequent administration. That was me. I, Antonio Ringo Davis, petitioned the court for subsequent administration, and that's when it was reopened. That's what actually reopened the case. However, here's what the courts did. The judge would not listen to a word that I say. And when Judge Greene left, there was another judge put in his place by the name of Judge Judge Deprimo. Now, here is what she did. In 2023, right there, she decided that that's when they're going to reopen the case. Petition to reopen the case by Mr. Addison. Order reopening the case by Mr. Addison. And signed by Judge Deprimo. Even though I had already reopened the case, she decided that she was going to reopen the case. Now, besides that, I'm going to show you other cases in Broward County. See this case? This case was opened in 01/31/1990. Right? It was closed in case closed 05/15/1991. Order of discharge. That is how the case was closed. They made a discharge order closing out the case. See that, right? That is the proper way to discharge and close out the case. You have to make discharge orders and then you close out the case. Cases don't just close sua sponte. Now, final thing that I'm going to show you is another case. Well, I'm not even going to show you that case because there was another case with the same exact thing. Now, what I'm saying to you, Judge Lopane, is that everything that you've done so far is being monitored and watched by the military. Whether you believe it or not, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. But it would behoove you to take notice that, yes, you are being watched. Have a good day.